All right, everyone, get ready for a deep dive. Today, we're going to be exploring something that I think is pretty relevant to all of us. Um, Dating and relationships, but specifically how they work in the digital age, with all the tech and
Ah,
everything.
yeah, for sure. It's a whole new world out there.
Yeah, and we've got this script we're going to be looking at today that really dives into how technology has like completely changed how we, find love. And I got to say it's pretty fascinating stuff.
I'm intrigued.
Okay, so like imagine, right, you're sitting in a park and there's this guy on one of the benches and he's like super nervous. He's on his phone, like totally agonizing over every word he's typing, trying to craft the perfect opening message on, one of those dating
Yeah,
apps.
I can picture it.
And then like across the park, there's someone else also glued to their phone. They're just like constantly checking their notifications, hoping for a match. Like does this sound familiar at all?
Oh, absolutely. It's like a scene straight out of, well, real life these days.
Yeah.
But it really makes you wonder, has all this technology, all the swiping and liking and matching, has it actually made it easier to, find the one?
That's the million-dollar question, right? And the script's like jumps right into it. It throws out some pretty crazy stats right from the beginning. Like, are you ready for this? Over 300 million people worldwide are using dating apps.
Wow, that's a lot of people looking for love online.
It's not even just a trend anymore. It's like it's totally changed the game. We're talking about a whole generation for whom like meeting online is the norm. It's not like this weird niche thing anymore.
It's true. It's become so integrated into our lives. And what I find really interesting is that it's not just about, casual dating or hookups anymore. This script, it talks about this couple who they actually met on a dating app during the pandemic.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, and they like built this really strong connection virtually before they even met in person. It
Yeah.
really challenges that idea that, you can't find genuine, lasting love online.
Totally. It's like those old stereotypes about online dating are kind of going out the window. But, I can see why digital dating has become so popular. The script talks about how accessible it is, and honestly, that makes a lot of sense.
Oh, for sure.
Think about it. You can connect with people who share your interests, like no matter where you are in the world. Before all this tech, if you were trying to find someone who was, I don't know, really into collecting like vintage board games or something, good luck.
Yeah, you'd be searching for ages.
But online, it's like, boom, there they are. You're connected with people who get you, who share your passions. It's a whole different ball game.
Right. The script really emphasizes that accessibility as like a major draw.
Yeah.
Suddenly your dating pool isn't limited by, your geography or like who you happen to know. It's pretty amazing when you think about it. Want to find someone who's into, I don't know, synchronized swimming? There's probably an app for that.
Haha, probably. But I mean, with anything, there are going to be downsides, right? Like, what about all the, the not so great parts of online dating?
Oh, yeah, there are definitely some challenges.
Yeah.
The script gets real about things like ghosting, which, let's be honest, can be just awful. You think you're connecting with someone, and then poof, they disappear without a trace.
Oh, it's the worst.
It is. And then there's catfishing.
Yeah.
People creating these totally fake profiles to trick others.
Yeah, that's scary. But isn't there also something about just having too many options? Like, you're constantly bombarded with potential matches, and it's almost like you get paralyzed by choice.
Oh, you're totally right. That's something the script explores. It's called the paradox of choice. Basically, the idea is that having like endless options can actually make it harder to commit to anything. You're always wondering, what if there's someone better out there?
Oh, I know that feeling. It's like you're constantly swiping and swiping, but you never actually like stop and connect with anyone.
Exactly. And it can lead to a lot of, indecision and anxiety. Like the script gives an example of this woman who was really excited about this guy she met online, and then he ghosted her, and she was like completely crushed.
Oh, that's rough.
Yeah, and the script talks about how a psychologist said that this whole grass is always greener mentality we get from having so many options can actually make us less able to appreciate, the good things that are right in front of us.
Hmm.
Pretty deep stuff,
Hmm.
right?
Yeah, that's really insightful. It's almost like we're getting so caught up in the search that we forget to actually enjoy the journey. And it's not just about dating either. The script talks about how this whole thing ties into the impact of social media on our relationships.
Oh, absolutely. Social media is a whole other beast. It's like we're constantly bombarded with these like picture perfect images of couples on Instagram. Everyone's always smiling, always on vacation, always, seemingly perfect.
Right. And it's easy to start comparing your own relationship to those idealized images. The script actually contrasts these happy couple selfies with, like, someone who's feeling totally jealous and inadequate while scrolling through their partner's feed. Talk about a recipe for disaster.
Yeah, and the script even quotes a social media expert who warns about the dangers of, comparing your relationship to these curated online personas. It's like you're comparing your like behind the scenes bloopers to someone else's highlight reel.
Hmm.
This is not a fair comparison.
So true. And it can set these totally unrealistic expectations and just create a lot of unnecessary insecurity. So, like, where do we go from here? I mean, we're not going to just ditch our phones and dating apps and social media, right?
Exactly. The question is, how do we navigate this whole digital minefield of love and relationships in a healthy way? And the good news is the script actually offers some guidance on that.
Oh, good. I'm all ears.
Well, it emphasizes the importance of things like open communication, really talking to your partner about your feelings and needs, even when it comes to technology. And trust is huge. Like, if you can't trust your partner online, then the relationship is probably not going to work anyway.
Yeah, that makes sense. But trust can be hard to build and maintain in the digital world where everyone's presenting these, like, carefully curated versions of themselves.
Right. And that's why the script also talks about setting healthy boundaries. Like maybe you and your partner agree to have screen-free dinners, or you schedule some device-free time together where you just focus on each other.
Okay, I like that. It's like creating those intentional spaces where technology doesn't have a chance to interfere with your connection.
Exactly. It's about being mindful of how and when you use technology and making sure it's actually serving your relationship, not harming it.
Yeah, it's like remembering that, real life is happening outside of our screens.
Exactly. And sometimes we need those little reminders. Like the script even talks about this couple who went to, get this, online relationship counseling.
Whoa, online. That's kind of ironic, right?
It is, but it also just shows you how much technology has become a part of everything, even like working on your relationship. But what I thought was interesting is that the advice the therapist gave wasn't about, like throwing your phones away or anything.
Oh, so what did they say?
Well, they stress that the most important thing is to have like open and honest conversations about how you're using technology and how much screen time you're both comfortable with. It's all about finding a compromise that works for both people in the relationship.
So basically, it's not the tech itself that's the problem. It's how we use it, right?
Exactly. Like instead of letting our devices control us and our relationships, we need to be more intentional about, setting boundaries and making conscious choices. We have to take back control.
That makes sense. It's like being proactive about shaping our digital lives instead of just letting them happen to us.
And you know what's really cool? The script actually takes this whole conversation a step further. It starts to like question the very nature of love itself in the digital
And,
age.
oh, wow. I'm curious. What does it say?
Well, it suggests that, love is this timeless emotion, right? It's always been there. But maybe, just maybe, the ways we express and experience love are changing because of technology.
Yeah, that's a really interesting point. Like, we've gone from, like, handwritten love letters and shy glances
Yeah.
to, like, carefully curated dating profiles and perfectly timed emojis. It's a totally different way of relating.
Right. And I think the question the script is asking is this changing the essence of love itself? Or is it just changing the way we show it?
That's pretty deep. I never thought about it like that before. And it makes me think about, like, all the ways technology has affected my own relationships, for better or worse.
It's definitely something to ponder. And you know what? The script actually ends with this really powerful image that kind of ties it all together. Remember that guy and woman from the beginning? The ones who were like totally glued to their phones in the park?
Yeah, I remember them.
Well, in the end, they actually end up meeting each other.
Yeah.
And the coolest part is they both put their phones away and they just walk off together, totally absorbed in each other's company.
Oh, I like that. It's like a little reminder that real connection happens when we, disconnect from the digital world and just be present with each other.
Exactly. Technology can be a bridge to connection, but it should never become a barrier to experiencing the fullness of a relationship. And that's why, this whole conversation about how we use technology in our love lives, it's so important.
Absolutely. And speaking of important conversations, this script leaves us with a really thought-provoking question, one that I think we should all be asking ourselves. So, what is it? What's the question we should all be asking ourselves?
It's pretty simple, but it's deep. How has technology shaped your approach to love and relationships?
Hmm, that is a good one. I guess it's easy to get caught up in, all the swiping and the messaging and trying to get the perfect, profile picture. But yeah, we don't always stop to think about how all that digital interaction is affecting, our real life relationships.
Yeah, and the script's kind of pushing us to like look at our own digital habits and ask, are they helping or hurting our relationships?
Yeah.
Are we hiding behind our screens or using technology to really connect with people?
It's definitely a balancing act, finding that sweet spot where technology helps us build relationships without, taking away from the human part of it all. And I think that ending image with the couple putting their phones away and just walking off together, it's a powerful reminder that real connection happens when we're present, when we disconnect from the digital world for a bit.
Absolutely. Sometimes we just need to put the phones down and look at each other.
This has been such an interesting deep dive. It's amazing how this one script has gotten us thinking about all these big questions about technology and our personal lives. But even with all the changes, all the tech and everything, it seems like the basics of love, honesty, communication, respect, that stuff's still important.
Couldn't agree more. It's not about hating on technology. It's about understanding how powerful it is and using it in a way that helps us build the relationships we want.
Well said. So, to everyone listening, thanks for joining us on this deep dive. Take some time to think about your own relationship with technology, how it's affecting your love life, your relationships. And until next time, keep diving deep and keep those conversations going.